At the same time, man, I'm one of those people that I would go out and we hunted in the desert. So we would be out in the desert, way out, even down at the southern border and in the Whetstones Mountains down there. And man, you get up in the mountains and it's just all, Spanish daggers and all sorts of cactus and crazy stuff. And it's kind of a scary place. How many people know what I'm saying? People all the time have to be saved out of the national parks hiking here in Phoenix. You guys know about that? And they made it so, it happened so much, they made a dumb law for people where if you had to get saved, then you have to pay for it because you should know better because it's scary, dangerous in the desert. Well, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about survival. And, man, I love this dude, Bear Grylls. How many people like Bear Grylls? I don't know if you're into that kind of stuff, but I love the adventure kind of stuff, survival type of stuff. And I like Bear because he's always so calm no matter what he's going through. And, of course, they put him in the situations. I mean, it's television after all. But, he was a former British, special forces guy and a really tough guy, hence the nickname Bear. But what I love about him is not just his survival skills, which are pretty amazing, but also his witness and what he does as a Christ follower. He's someone who uses his voice to point other people to explore Christ. So there's this thing called Alpha. In fact, we've done it here at the church where you host these dinners and ask these questions that open people up to talking about things that are spiritual. And he actually has been a part of this campaign because he's part of the church where it comes from. With Nicky Gumbel's church in London. And he actually is using that, talking about, why don't you try an Alpha course? Why don't you go and explore who God is and what he wants to do in your life? And I love that about him. I love that he's using his platform to be a witness to other people. How many people know what I'm talking about? See, there's something about that. See, he's figured out that he, as a steward of what God has given him, it's not just giving because he's a rich guy and he's on TV, but he's using his testimony to share with other people. And man, I love that. I think there's something powerful about it. I think that, there's something about him that resonates with so many people because he's courageous. And we want to be courageous like that. How many people they're like, yes, that's exactly it. How many people would want to go on the adventure with him? Is that something that you would like? How many people are like, absolutely not. I love it through my TV on my couch. 100% safe, doing well. Man, because no matter what happens, he always ends up having to eat something nasty, doesn't he? And he's like eating these massive bugs. You guys got that one? These massive grubs that when you bite into them, they gush and they go but it's protein, baby. You need the protein. And it's nasty. And if you run out of water, you know what happens if you run out of water. So you don't hang out with Bear Grylls running out of water. That's all I'm saying. But one of my favorite ones, Celeste and I were watching, there's this phrase he says, before we go to that, this phrase that he says all the time. It's improvise, adapt, overcome. Improvise, adapt, overcome. He's talking about how do you survive? You improvise, you adapt, you overcome. It's about being flexible and about having a mentality that says, I will survive this situation and I will thrive on the backside of it. Ooh, something about that, huh? Man, we were watching, and he has one of the shows he's done was with a bunch of celebrities, and they take a celebrity and they have an adventure and go from place to place. And I was like, we were watching it together, Celeste and I, and man, here comes on one of the major NFL stars out of the States, Deion Sanders. And so he comes on the show, and, I think about Neon Deion and all the craziness and kind of bombastic and crazy character guy he was. And, he kind of got in trouble here and there. But what I found was after his football career, he's actually really got into his faith. And so he starts talking about his faith around a campfire with Bear. And Bear has him like scaling mountains and all this. Now this man was fast and he could jump and he was all those things, but he was not a mountain climber. Let's say that much. So Celeste and I were like, oh, how's this going to go? You know what I mean? Because he was like scared. There was big gaps that they're having to jump over. And Bear is just like so calm. He just does the things. He's like, all right, this is what we're going to do. And we're just going to do this real quick. And he does it. And then the guy is like freaking out. Well, what happened was we were watching this. It's TV, live on TV. And we see Deion is just like, he's like, man, I'm nervous, man. I just need to be praying right now to the Lord. And he starts praying to God on TV, starts speaking in the Spirit, praying in the Spirit over the situation. And Bear's just like, say the prayers, take the jump. Say the prayers and take the jump. And I'm like, This is amazing. This is amazing. And man, Dion does, man. He like gets full of boldness and he makes the jump and he does fine. He's great and he overcomes the situation. And I want that to be an encouragement to you and to me today, that we would be the same, that we would be those who are willing to improvise, to adapt, to overcome the situations. Man, we have to be flexible. We have to be willing to listen to what the Lord is saying and be able to walk with him through this thing, realizing that we are going to overcome the situation we're in.